All right, we're going to give it just about one more minute here and let everybody join, and then we'll get started. Once again, for those attending here, we're going to get started here in just a minute. One more minute here for those who are joining now, and we'll get started here just shortly. All right, let's go ahead and get this started. Good afternoon. Thanks again to everyone joining today, and thank you to the wonderful team at Futurestay for having us here to do a little education and Q&A. We love collaborating with our partners in an effort of getting the word out about short-term rentals. As you know, it's a rapidly expanding business right now. So this is our first webinar with Futurestay, so we're super excited to host a recorded session here that you can refer back to in the future if you need a refresher on how Vrbo operates and what we focus on. You may have known us as VRBO in the past. If you've seen the commercials and social media posts as of late, we've recently rebranded as Vrbo. So just to try and address any confusion here, that both are still the same. So look, if there's one thing that's come out of 2020 that we can define as positive, is the awareness of this industry. I mean, it's just amazing. It's been a great year for vacation rentals, folks, and it's not losing any steam anytime soon. And people are looking to get out. They're trying to get some space, get a change of view. And this is what Vrbo is studying so heavily right now. So today, we're going to go through what the traveler data is telling us right now, and we're going to talk about how to navigate it. It's super important stuff on any platform really right now. So make sure to follow along. We're going to be hyper-focusing on the Florida market today. It's going to be about a 20 or 30 minute presentation, and then about a half an hour or so for Q&A after that, so we can answer questions live via panel. We got some awesome people here from Vrbo and Futurestay to help facilitate that. We will answer the questions at the end, so notate anything that you want to discuss and then throw it in the chat box at the bottom and let us know who you are. Monique and Jonathan are going to be starting us off with some great info. If we want to go over to the agenda, I'll kind of roll that out real quick. They're going to be talking about the Futurestay product and all the exciting things that they're doing and how it works. And after that, myself and Stephanie are going to be the MCs of the hour representing Vrbo. And myself and Stephanie, we work with property managers directly using Vrbo. So consider us and our team kind of the boots on the ground, so to speak. And so we're going to share what our team is seeing and hearing. And so use this to your advantage to kind of paint a good picture of how you personally would improve your specific inventory. So once again, this is us from the first page. We're going to do a quick Futurestay overview. We're going to talk about the traveler's needs. We're going to talk about you guys and what we can do with the data. And then we're going to talk about the tools we have at your disposal. And then lastly, if you're interested in connecting the platforms, we're going to talk about how to do that. So I'm going to drop this off with Monique and Jonathan for the next slide.
Great. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Stephanie. We're certainly excited to have our first ever live and recorded Vrbo webinar. Certainly excited to do even more of these and bring more partners to webinars and provide a lot of valuable information for everyone. Quick introduction, quickly myself. I'm Jonathan Fabio, COO and one of the co-founders of Futurestay. We are an operating system for short-term rental industry. One of the main differentiating kind of factors of our platform, other than being a single dashboard kind of encompassing or putting together all the essentials you'd need to enable your kind of on-demand business, is that we really focus here at Futurestay on empowering entrepreneurs, small teams in the industry. You'll hear a lot of the terminology about independent property managers and rental owners. We'll certainly work with anyone with one property, and we work with larger property managers, but certainly it's the small property managers, 1 to 20 properties, 25 properties is really our platform's strongest suit. What you're going to get from a benefit standpoint is, connecting to listings. We take the complexity out of doing business with large OTAs and really large businesses like Vrbo, right? Make it super easy to utilize their platforms, run payments, communicate with guests, and deliver really high level hospitality. Our connectivity is award-winning top connectivity. We're definitely recognized throughout the industry as having really complete reservation automation. A lot of this is just taking the manual tasks, again, from payments and confirmations and cancellations and refunds and everything off your plate. It just works. And we also have built-in booking engines that can market itself and utilize your brand and integrate it everywhere. And again, payments. We know how complicated they are, especially on a global platform. We take care of everything that for you. You don't even need a merchant account for Futurestay. Move on to the next slide, please. Again, what we like to say, I kind of just touched on this on the last slide. We like to say, we take away and remove your to-do list and give you a done list, right? So everything that you normally would get delivered to you through, a channel manager and PMS and kind of, integrating a bunch of different systems together to form your operations. Futurestay just takes away every single, manual task out of that and allows you to just deliver guests to your property and provide great hospitality. Next slide, please. And the last thing here before Mike and Stephanie jump into some really amazing insights into the marketplace that they're seeing through Vrbo, we just wanted to highlight some things that we do here and how closely we work with Vrbo and how excited we are to continue our relationship and develop it even further. Like I said before, we're focused very much on entrepreneurs, small teams, serving and providing a roadmap, to success, no matter where you are on your journey. And some of this, what we're doing with Vrbo really highlights that. We've piloted and worked with Vrbo to actually make it easier and quicker to list on Vrbo. Vrbo's been making tremendous strides in making it easier and quicker to list in a more efficient process. And we've been right there to take part in that journey with them. It's been very exciting. The other, another really big accomplishment here that we've been excited about from day one with working with Vrbo is, if many property managers might remember, it was very difficult, or if not possible, if you had less than 5 properties, to be able to connect with software to Vrbo. Now that's possible. We work very closely with Vrbo to be able to bring down that barrier and provide a seamless solution for everyone to market themselves on a great site like Vrbo. And of course, we continue to work on more products and features that we'll be announcing in collaboration very shortly. Thanks.
All right, and my name is Stephanie Brennan. I'm actually on the partner success team. I'm a market development manager. I work with Mike on the Vrbo side. And so I wanted to introduce myself and thank you all for joining. I'm going to jump into the really fun data of the Traveler Trends Report, what we're seeing in the marketplace right now. So in addition to analyzing the data from our own vacation rental marketplace, we also invited a lot of family travelers around the world to participate in the first of its kind consumer survey. And this was to help uncover what to expect in 2021. So this report is based on a US survey that was of 8,000 plus people. So it's some really cool data that we were able to pull. Before I hop into the trends, I just want to make sure I'm clearly identifying what makes us so unique. The purpose is that we provide a space for people to truly connect. So it's pretty cool that anyone in the world can find your property in a small town in Florida and connect and go and visit there and stay. So, so we're bringing people together. And just so you know, like Mike had mentioned, We are the same as HomeAway. So HomeAway and Vrbo are one, and we're now under the Vrbo name. But we're part of Expedia Group, which just means even more exposure when you do make that connection, that you do get the exposure to a big group of the family, as you can see in this slide. So let's jump right into the trends. 82% of families surveyed already have travel plans in mind for 2021. So the survey was done late last year. So that's huge. I mean, that people are seeing that people already have plans and want to make that. As you can see, I'm sure in areas, you guys are mostly going to be from Florida. You go to our site and you type in Destin, Florida, and you'll most likely see a very small percentage of inventory left, just because the supply is so much lower than the demand we're seeing. So that's huge. The traffic should be coming in. And these families are making it clear they want to travel together. So on Vrbo, 60% are 4+ bedrooms. So a lot of people, I mean, you can see our marketing campaigns. We have John Legend talking about your togetherness awaits and all about family friendly. That's our main focus right now, with a lot of marketing that's going out, and that's going to be for the 4+ bedrooms. You can see that our website is a little bit different to even some of our families' websites, meaning hotels.com and Expedia. The average number of people on Vrbo that book a trip on Vrbo is more than double than what you see on other Expedia Group brands. So we have 4 adults plus 1 child per trip for Vrbo typically, and they're saying 2 adults plus 1 child for hotels.com and Expedia, which is some cool information. So pandemic family travel plans. So 40% increase in bookings within 100 miles of where they live. So a lot of people are just hopping in the car and making it a drivable destination. So they're staying within about 100 miles of where they actually live. 61% are more likely to visit outdoorsy destinations than urban ones. And then 54% are more likely to visit national parks than amusement parks. And this is going to be changing a little bit, as we've seen with Disney parks. Are going to be opening up soon if they haven't already, but they're going to be soon. Then you're going to see that number change a little bit. But what we were seeing throughout a little bit of early this year and last year was people were wanting to go to the beaches, the mountain areas where they can be out in nature. And then, of course, reasons for family travel. Across all surveyed, over 1/3, so 34%, report their first trip is going to be a low-key holiday or flexcation. I'm going to jump into flexcation in the next slide a little bit more. But again, it's going to be that family just jumping in the car and going someplace that's easy and drivable. And then 26% expect to make up for lost time with family and friends. And I can attest to this personally. I haven't seen a lot of my extended family for a while, so we already have our trip planned for, staying in a nice Vrbo house at the end of April, because you haven't had that chance to be with extended family outside of your house. People have this pent-up demand to get out and see each other. So we're seeing a lot of that. Flexcation is a term that I think we started using, Expedia started using it, and it's a new family travel trend. We're seeing flexible jobs and school arrangements. They're driving longer stays because you can mix work and play. I'm working remotely. I think most of us are working remotely. About 48% of travelers indicate that they are working from anywhere. So people are able to travel, go and stay in a different house that's not their own, have a pool for their kids to play in while they're still able to work. So that's what we mean by flexcations. You're seeing a lot of bookings during slow seasons to save money and avoid crowds. And then last minute trips to get out of the house and enjoy a change of scenery. Since it's a lot of drivable distances, you're seeing it be a lot easier to just hop in the car and go. So our booking window is shortening a little bit, or has shortened a little bit. And then 65% of travelers said that they would travel more in 2021 than they did before COVID-19. And 33% are willing to spend more than they typically would on vacation. Now think about this. So 65% of travelers are going to travel more than even pre-COVID. So when we were normal life, normal work, everyone's taking summer vacations, winter vacations. they're even going to be traveling more just because there is so much pent-up demand. Most people didn't take a vacation last year. They are not going to miss out on it again this year. So we're seeing a lot of traffic to the site. And then 57% of travelers expect to book trips in the first 6 months of 2021. Of those, 34 intend to book within the first 3 months. So again, if you haven't already seen the traffic, it's just going to continue coming. I mean, people are already booking up summers, spring break, where people were getting out, especially with the vaccine getting more and more out there and available to all. You're going to see that people are wanting to get out. So today's travelers want flexible cancellation policies, assurance of cleanliness, drive to destinations, to book closer to the stay date, and then transparent pricing. So, but even travelers who are dreaming about future trips, we know that they're thinking cautiously still about where they're going to go. They're staying closer to home and driving by car, are big themes that we're seeing, as well as interest in traveling to areas that aren't hit as hard as the pandemic, which is going to be more of the nature, being out further away from crowds, avoiding major urban areas. The first chart statistic could be more an important discussion with your group of owners if they're fixed on a no refund policy and have been for a while. This is going to present a major barrier to booking, especially at times like this. So the first, on the graph, you'll see 77% are more likely to choose travel accommodations with a flexible cancellation policy. 51% are more likely to pay attention to cleanliness standards of accommodations prior to booking. And then 28% are more likely to drive to your destination. Just as a little tiny insert on the cancellation, we now have actually added that you can do a cancellation filter. So if somebody only wants to see properties that have a very relaxed cancellation policy, they can actually select that as a filter. So then if you have no refund, then you're probably not even going to show up on search. So it's definitely something to look at. Of course, everyone knows their business better than we do, but that's the trend we're seeing. The cleaning practices to your listing. So 82% of travelers weigh in and they say that cleaning information is useful when making that booking decision. I don't think this is going away. Yes, it's definitely come to fruition because of COVID-19, but I don't think the cleanliness is going to go away, people wanting that. So we know that a lot of property managers, you have changed your cleaning habits to keep it up. So we want to communicate that. We're providing you a way to merchandise your enhanced cleaning practices and show guests that you're committed to the cleanliness. So this is going to include things like whether your property is being cleaned with disinfectant, whether or not you provide contactless check-in, whether you have blocked days between guests, and more. And all of this can actually be done in your dashboard, on your Vrbo dashboard. If you have any questions on how to do that, you can visit the Discovery Hub, which Mike's going to give a little bit more information on what that is. Or you can reach out to your account manager if you have one, or of course, integrated property manager support that you guys have, and they can walk you through how to add in those cleaning procedures. So setting yourself up for success. Well, appetite for travel is there and probably stronger than we've ever seen before, honestly. The uncertain nature of everything right now has made travelers, A, risk averse, both physically and financially, and B, a little bit more picky due to unused supply out there. Now, in specific areas, especially Florida, there's not a lot of unused supply as we're seeing for the summer times. But so that said, if you haven't revisited optimizing your listing since the COVID outbreak, now's a good time. At a high level, here are things to focus on. Make sure your listings are available. Your listings are showcasing what travelers say they want. Be flexible. Stay competitive. Mostly this has to do with rate settings. Making travelers safe, feel safe and welcome. So on the surface, of course, that seems very basic. But there is a lot that goes into achieving all of these goals. So let's kind of break them down really quick. First, before we can present your listing has to be an option and has to be available. So make sure that your calendars are staying up to date. If you had a cancellation from someone, make sure that that is no longer blocked and it is showing available. Second, make sure you've gone in and added all available amenities that you offer. Examples being Wi-Fi, that's huge for Flexcation. Make sure you have it in the description, make sure you have it as an amenity selected, because people need to know that if they're going to be working from your home, that you do have the Wi-Fi capable of hosting Zoom meetings like this, and they're not going to be cutting out. And then, of course, cleanliness procedures, making sure you're adding those in. Third is being flexible. This is mainly talking about the cancellation policy. As noted in the previous slide, 77% of travelers are looking for a flexible cancellation policy. That's huge. Fourth, stay competitive. Use the tools that we have in the dash that can help keep you competitive within rates. Mike's going to do a deeper dive into Market Maker, but that's a huge tool to be able to use and compare your comparables in the area and what other people are charging. And then last but not least, just make sure travelers feel safe and welcome. And that's an easy one. Just making sure that your cleaning procedures, that's going to make them feel safe. Everything in your description, walk them through your home, make them feel like they're already there when they're looking at your listing. Lots of photos, just make them feel welcome. In my very last slide, we just want you to know that Vrbo loves property managers. We have the exposure that we can offer because we are part of Expedia Group. We have the Vrbo and Expedia Group exposure, 200 sites in 70 countries. Quality Vrbo travelers. So you're going to see a little bit of a different traveler on Vrbo typically. They're more affluent, family oriented, they stay longer, they spend more. And that's why a lot of our marketing is going to family friendly marketing. Personalized support. Mike and I are both on the partner success team. Our goal is to make you successful. So we are here to help. So simple onboarding, 24/7 resources, evangelism, and strong representation. And then programs and perks, premier host updated, and new listings fast start. Mike's going to dive in a little bit deeper to these programs, but just so you know, they are trying to make it a little bit more available to new partners who are coming on and new listings to make it so that you have a fair shot at showing up and ranking. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't change the slide. Anyway, this is the last slide.
That's okay. Got to pull it up, no big deal. Thank you, Stephanie. Awesome information. My name is Mike. I work with Stephanie as well. I just want to remind everybody that we are recording this so that if you dropped in late, no problem. You can go back and get this information later on. All right, so let's talk about Florida. All right, so what we did here is sampled 3 different markets. I want to show you kind of how we look at data and just kind of give you some examples. What we did is we picked an amusement market. So we'll call it the Walt Disney / Orlando market. Beach market being Fort Myers Beach, and Miami being an international destination primarily. So all 3 of these are major markets on Vrbo, meaning that the supply typically outpaces the demand, just like Stephanie was talking about a minute ago. So we're going to use these as examples. So let's go to the next slide and let's play with this a little bit. So we have a lot of data at our fingertips. I'm going to show you kind of how we kind of decipher it. So the first thing that we want to look at is, are you actually listing the right inventory in your market? Okay, so as an example, we can look at our 3 examples here. So we've got Orlando and Fort Myers and Miami, and you're going to notice that the concentration of bedroom size changes by market depending on what you've got going on. So Orlando, huge focus on 5+ bedrooms. Why do you think that is? Is because it is Disney, right? Big families coming on in. You're going to have groups of anywhere between 7 to 14 coming in. They even have 8-bedroom type homes there that look deceptively small, but they're huge on the inside. So great example there. Fort Myers Beach, 3-bedroom homes. What does that tell you? It's going to be just like a single family or maybe a guys and gals weekend or something like that. Much heavier emphasis on the smaller size. And then you've got Miami. Miami looks more along the lines of an even smaller group set of people. It looks like the 2-bedrooms and even the 1-bedrooms are huge subsets. So that tells me that maybe there's executive stays going on, or you've got guys and gals weekends, or you've got heavy travelers that are just passing through. Either way, this is the way that we decipher this inventory and behaviors within the market. So what we like to do is kind of flip this on its head, right? So that's where the major focus is, but what can you do to get exposure in these markets even more effectively? And that comes from focusing on the low percentages, so the lower amount of inventory on Vrbo. So let's look at Orlando again, right? So the majority of travelers want to find 5+ bedrooms, right? But 1 and 2 bedrooms, there's such a small amount on our website that any of that traffic that's coming in is going to have a way smaller subset of people to get through, and hopefully a lot faster turnaround. So it's not unimportant inventory. There is a subset of travelers in that percentage that are there. So if you have that inventory and you're not listing it right now, do yourself a favor and use charts like this to say, hey, look, this would be a way smaller subset search and a quicker way to get exposure. Same thing with the Fort Myers Beach stuff. As you can see, the smaller subsets are the big ones and the really small ones. So say 1-bedroom or studios and things like that. If they're not on the site, focus on those things. Miami, same idea. This one has a lot less big market inventory in the area. Now there's tons of mansions and whatnot in Miami, but the subset of travelers are sticking to a bigger set of traveler. But if you have big ones like that, that's a great way to use them, because think of it this way. So if you have a luxury market, right, that's going to be a very boutique set of travelers, right? They're going to, people looking at that 5-bedroom plus in a Miami, that's going to be an expensive stay. So you're going to have a higher end clientele, either a bigger party, wedding, or any of that kind of stuff, right? So it's going to be a much smaller subset of travelers with a much smaller subset of actual inventory on the site. So if you have this stuff and you're looking for a place to get more performance, this is a great way to focus. So flip your inventory on your head. So if you've already got the popular stuff, get the unpopular stuff, because there's just so much more of an opportunity to get it seen. Last thing I would say on this is that unique inventory promotes longer stays. We were already talking about staycations a minute ago. So if any of this stuff is unique, meaning like it's non-resort and it's a home, it has a pool, any of those kinds of things, promote that it's a standalone unit. That really attracts travelers nowadays. So let's go to the next slide. All right, let's talk about amenities. Have you gone in and have you checked off everything that is available on that unit? Super, super, super important. This can be the make or break between you guys showing up in search or not. The average traveler, I'm going to skip through a few things here, but at the bottom you'll see that it says the travelers use an average of about 7 filters prior to actually querying in an area. So if for some reason you didn't check off pool or washer and dryer or grill or anything that's essential like air conditioning and things like that, people are going to check that stuff off, and it's only going to pull the inventory that's got that checked off. So be super thorough when you're listing, or if you haven't looked at your stuff in a while, go back and visit it within Futurestay or wherever your platform is and make sure that you have this stuff checked off. Make sure obviously everything's checked off, and then on top of that, check in your dashboard, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more in a minute. What are the essential top amenities that should be checked off? So we have our 3 subset here, Orlando, Fort Myers, and Miami, and you're going to find that pools are important in all 3 markets. Essential, which is like air conditioning, Wi-Fi, linens, and washer dryer services, one of the top 5. You'll notice in Orlando, people like hot tubs. In Fort Myers, TV is important. In Miami, parking, because more than likely, there's probably pretty hard to park downtown down there. So, use this data to your advantage to go, oh, you know what? I didn't check off the parking available piece, or, oh, silly me, I didn't put down that I had a pool. Go back and check this stuff off. It can be a huge difference in the amount of exposure that those listings are seeing. Let's go to the next one. All right, I'm going to let Monique take out.
Well, thanks, Mike. Hey, everyone. My name is Monique Kandel. I'm the Director of Partner Success at Futurestay. So just to piggyback on what Mike was mentioning as some of the key amenities that travelers are looking for in Florida rentals, as he was saying, in your software, and this is a peek inside the Futurestay dashboard, it's very easy to select those key amenities, and they'll feed directly over to your connected Vrbo listing. On top of just amenities like pools and barbecue, we know that things like location, where is it located, near the beach, is it near a lake, etc. That's also really important, and those are some of the really top important search filters. So you want to make sure that you have everything selected within your software and within your platform to make sure that it's attracting the types of travelers that you want to your Vrbo listing. You can go ahead to the next slide.
Awesome, thanks, Monique. All right, let's move on to pricing. Are we priced in the right market, right? So this stuff is available through the Vrbo Dash and for several other vendors that are out there as well. We'll talk about that in a minute, but we'll just talk about what we have available at the moment. So go back and check your pricing. Even if you do it manually on these websites, go see what the average daily rate is, ADR, right, per size of bedroom that you have in your supply. So as an example, we can look at our 3 separate markets here. Again, you'll notice that the pricing is a bit different in each market. You'll notice that the 5-bedroom in Orlando is way more competitively priced at like a $360 a night, versus if you get into Fort Myers or even in Miami, look at how the prices skyrocket. But this is important to know, because if you're undercutting yourself, this is a huge opportunity to make up some headway here. Or if you're overcutting yourself. I've had a few luxury properties have things at like $2,000 a night, and I've gone back and talked to them and said, hey, look, the average is $1,300. Is there any way we can cut a couple $100 off this and get it? and they would come down to like say $1,600 or something like that, and all of a sudden it would change the entire landscape of the type of travel that they were getting. So be super mindful of what your bedroom type or size is performing in your particular market. We've had a lot of discussions with people over the years where they're like, I'm in Vrbo, I'm in a really hot market and I'm getting nothing. And usually this is one of the first things that we look at is rates. And we go, wow, you guys are a little bit too cheap. I think people might be a little worried about booking your place. Come up a little bit, make a little bit more money and be competitive. We've had a few people, like you said, that have had it too high, and they've had to go back to their owners and say, hey, look, what you want is awesome, but it's not good for the market and it's not going to get you revenue. And then we've adjusted those accordingly. So pricing, super, super important. Don't overcut yourself. Watch your fees. This is an awesome stat, actually. Rented.com actually brought this out a couple of weeks ago, and it matched up with what we had to say. Properties with fees at or below their nightly rate see 50% more bookings. So what does that mean? That means that do what you have to do to try and even it out as much as you can. A client that's going to have 12 different subsets of fees is going to have a much harder time on Vrbo booking than somebody who breaks it down to maybe 3, right? You know, the longer that list is, the more confusing it looks at the very end. So if you have to wrap some stuff into the nightly rate just to try and offset it a bit so it topically looks better, do it, because it will make things simpler for the traveler at the end of the day. Last thing is seasonality. When it comes to rates, if you have seasonality or event rates or anything that's going on in the area, make sure you adjust for that stuff, because a lot of times it can be a difference of 25% more money in your pocket for Christmas, Easter, July 4th. There's a motorcycle rally, there's a huge concert in town, there's a great beach festival, whatever. Any of those kinds of things can jack up rates really quickly when the demand spikes. So watch that stuff. And if it's something coming up, make sure you adjust for that time frame, because you can make more during those times. Okay, let's move on to the next one. And this one's going to be from Monique.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Mike. I'll take it from here. So we just wanted to share a bit of what we're seeing internally in Futurestay or with our existing properties and property managers in some of our active Florida markets. So a lot of the data here will support some of the trends that Mike and Stephanie mentioned earlier about we're all seeing rebounds in travel and people are ready to start taking trips and planning trips, right? So we looked at some of our most active markets in Florida, comparing last year, so Q2 to Q4 of 2020, when that was really the height of the pandemic, to what we're seeing most recently in Q1 of 2021. So from an average lead time perspective, overall, we're seeing that the lead times are stretching out. So people are much more comfortable booking travel further in advance than they were last year. So of course, last year, we didn't know what travel restrictions were, quarantine measures, all of that. But now that vaccines are rolling out, there's a bit more stability overall. People are much more likely to be okay booking something for a couple months out. Average stay length, we're actually seeing that take a little bit of a decrease to last year. Again, that kind of indicates that there's less quarantine restrictions in place where someone might need to stay in place for 14 days. Now it's on our end, we're seeing it more of kind of the typical, long weekend trips or a week off for spring break type of stay lengths. Average daily rates, we're definitely seeing that rebound. So higher rates in Q1 of this year versus what we saw last year, which makes a lot of sense because last year people just wanted someone to come and stay at their properties, so they were willing to give some deeper discounts, and now we're kind of seeing those rates and everything level out or come back up to where you would probably normally price your property this time of year. And then overall Q1, we're seeing significant booking volume growth, which again just further supports, people are ready to get back out there and traveling again and booking trips. So all really exciting things for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. Stay on the slide for a second. There's
Sure.
some great info right here. So look at average daily rate, folks. Look at this. Look at the difference between last year and this year. Look at the spike. If you haven't touched your rates in a while, go back and look at this stuff. Super, super awesome. Look at that. I mean, look at Venice. It's almost doubled. That's crazy. And what an opportunity for you. Anyway, sorry. I thought that was awesome.
I'm glad you're so excited about that slide, Mike. It's awesome.
It is. I can just see people counting their money right now. All right, let's go to the next slide. All right, let's talk about photos real quick. So photos are also very important. People do judge the book by its cover in this industry, and they do go to the site and they're going to look for the prettiest thing first. It's what they want to see. They want to see what's going on, right? So let's find out how many photos it takes, right, in order to really paint a description that will make people confident enough to go ahead and book with you right on the spot, right? Travelers want to know what is going on around them. I know that there's a lot of homes on the site, like in that 1 and 2 bedroom range, where you can only really put so many photos up before you start repetitively putting the same thing up over and over and over. So utilize the area attractions to your advantage. So let's say we use Orlando, right? Orlando is not exactly next to the beach, but there's a ton of little traveler knickknack places to go all over Orlando. There's like Peter Pan's golf extravaganza thing. I've been there a few times. I think that's awesome. You've got Walt Disney World. You've got Universal Studios. You've got all these different things that you guys can use and you can get ad-free or royalty-free Google pictures from. Use those to your advantage to show people that you're near those areas, because they're going to relate to that when they're looking at your listing. They're going to go and look at what you've got, look at your amenities, look and see the bright and cheery photos, and then they're going to see pictures of attractions in the area, and they're going to directly correlate that with your place. And it's going to do nothing but build more confidence in hitting that click now to book button. So nearby stuff important. They want to see all the amenities we already talked about. And then also know how many photos that you need to put up in order to be able to see the increase in booking counts. This is a really interesting slide because it's something that we didn't track a lot before, but we've started to now. So look at the 3 markets that we have. You'll notice that there's a bit of an actual consistency between all 3, and it happens right around that 25 or 26th photo mark. From there, we watch the booking value, the count, and the product display views shoot straight up. So what is that telling us right now? That's telling us that if you're sitting around 16 or 17 photos and you can find a way to add the extra 5 or 6 in there to get close to that number, there's a huge correlation with booking and confidence versus the amount of photos that you have. So if you've only got 6 or 7 or 3 or 4 in there, huge red flag. Go in there and add some more stuff if you can. Go use your iPhone. A lot of these new iPhones right now take amazing photos. Go in and shoot a couple extra photos and throw them up there. It can be the difference between 25 to 50% more bookings, over the next year, especially in recovery time that we're in right now. So use that, make sure to increase your photo counts if you can. Let's go to the next one. The next one is going to actually relate to that a little bit. So the other piece is make them bright and cheery. Even if you've got a low quality photo, brighten that sucker. I mean, just bring it out a little bit, because the more pop that you've got going on with color, the easier it is on the eye, the more attractive it is on the eye. As you can look at this picture right here, one was shot from a dark aspect. The next one, somebody turned a light on and shot from another aspect. What do you notice about these 2 things? One has a closed in space. The other one shows a length of space going into another room. It looks like it creates more space. There's more space for the traveler. In their head, they're looking at this and going, I've got more room to walk around. I've got more room to be free. So think about that from an aspect too as well, especially if you're in a position to be reshooting photos or you're pulling on new inventory and you're trying to figure out the best way to get this stuff advertised. Shoot from long ranges, shoot bright, shoot airy, show that you've got room for somebody to show up with a family or multiple folks, because that's what Vrbo focuses so heavily on, is groups and families, right? Okay, let's go to the next one. All right, reviews. So do we really need reviews? Yes, we need reviews. 92% of travelers that book in our marketplace do so on properties with at least 1 review. Okay. Now, reviews come from a couple different ways. We solicit for you, you get a chance to solicit for them, and then the traveler, with them booking through Vrbo and their profile, will also have an option to be able to do it themselves. So we push heavily on reviews to try and get you guys some feedback. The other piece with it is the feedback on the review itself. So even if you get, say, a 2-star review and that makes you unhappy, if you respond to that review, it shows the empathetic, humane side of how much you care about the unit. I can tell you one thing that's been so apparent lately is, and I can tell this from a firsthand perspective, if I'm on Amazon and I'm shopping, I have a much more confident buying experience with somebody who's got an average 4 or 4.2 rating than I do with somebody who's got a 5-star rating, because there is an actual average in there with people that have had critiques or suggestions, and the product manager emailed back and said, awesome idea, I think we'll look at changing that. Or take an example on Vrbo. Somebody was unhappy because the bed had blue sheets instead of red sheets. I've actually seen this before. And a PM responded and said, I'm so sorry you didn't like the blue sheets. I'm glad we were able to run down the street and get you some red sheets. I hope you had a great stay. We'll see you next time. That kind of stuff is gold on sites like this. Amazon, Google, just pick the places that you shop. The more that you see response from the client, the more they know that they care about the product. So use this to your advantage. Even if you have one, respond to it. Just say thanks for staying if it's a perfect 5-star review. Either way, any of that response stuff is super important. And then the other piece is, I mean, look at how it jumps up. I mean, look at the difference. You get to 5, 50% more likely, 12, 55% more likely, 20, 80% more likely to get bookings. So, you know, the more reviews that you guys can get, I mean, push for these things, even if they're not perfect, get them, because the more you have, the more relevant you guys look. And look at the examples between Orlando and Fort Myers and Miami. You notice that they're pretty close to the same too as well. So right around that 15, 20 mark, everything shoots straight up. So use that as a target, as an example, if you've got properties in this area. And we'll show you here in a couple of slides on where you can find this data for the other markets as well. So let's move on to the next one. All right, now we get to more data stuff. So we've talked about the things that you can do in your listings to make them better. Let's talk about the things that you can utilize within Vrbo to keep aware of this stuff as you move on throughout the year. So we're going to talk about market insights, which funny enough has been a lot of the data that you've seen in the previous slides. I'm just going to show you a bigger version of it. The competitive set of your area, which ties into Market Maker. And then we're going to talk about the Fast Start program and Discovery Hub. So let's go to the next one. All right, so these charts might look a little bit familiar. Well, there's a whole lot more data where that stuff comes from. I just kind of broke out a few things that were important. So Market Insights is available with your account manager here at Vrbo. If you don't know who they are, we can get you guys hooked up with someone here and we can pull this data. It is by county, so we can pull things for Destin or 30A area. I mean, just pick a market. I'm drawing a blank now, Jacksonville, and in anything of those kinds of things. We can look this stuff up and you can get the same data. It's at your fingertips. And it gets a lot deeper than the stuff that I've even shown at this point. There's demand, there's annual revenue by bedroom. If you go to the next slide, there's even deeper dives into this stuff where we talk about the tour impacts on virtual tours. So you can see that over there kind of in the bottom right area right there. Does it make sense to have a virtual tour in the area? These are things that you can upload into the Vrbo page. Performance by property reviews. We already went through that one. You've got product display review performance at the top, talking about what the average impressions in the area are. How many views is your area actually seeing? How many inquiries are coming through? How many booking requests are coming through for the area? So it gives you a good idea to take a look and see if you're on par with performance. So if you're getting around 18 to 20 bookings and the average is 19 in the area, you know that you're being competitive and you're setting the average of the area. So this information, once again, is available with your account manager. We can get this information done at the county level. So hit us up and lean on us on this stuff. This stuff is super awesome. Now let's go to some more data. All right, let's talk about competitive set. This is what I like to call one of two pieces of our market maker system. So in Vrbo, you can actually set a competitive set based on a property that you have on Vrbo. So as an example, if you have a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom in the area, you can go in and you can pick properties in the area that are closest to the type that you have. Now, we usually start out giving you a general competitive set, and then people will typically edit it a little bit to make it more along the lines of what they get. The reason why the competitive set is important is because once bookings start coming in from not only yourself, but competitors, it will tell you when you win or lose a booking. And then it gives you a chance to compare with that property and see maybe why they booked it over you, so that you can get a chance to make that pivot, or you can see the success where you booked over someone else. And maybe it was because of the fact that you had pool checked off versus the other. It will tell you that information. And so this is a great way to make sure that as you go on through the year, you're not detecting trends that you're missing out on your particular property. So the comp set is a place for you to be able to dial in a great comparison competitive set so that you can keep track of that type of inventory throughout the year. Now, I said that because it wraps into the next piece, right? Which is going to be market makers. So you can set your competitive set, and what market maker is going to do is actually amalgamate all of that data, your average daily nights, what's staying, unbooked properties, booked properties, searches, occupancy rates, forecasted occupancy rates, and it puts it all into one big slide for you. So you can actually take a look at your particular property. So as an example, this is a little bit of a small slide, so I'll try and kind of point it out. But basically, the blue line is going to be like your rate as an example. And then everything as far as for average rate of unbooked properties is right below that in gray. And you'll see where it jumps and goes around. So you can see that like during the like April, Friday through Monday up there, you'll see that the rate went up higher than your average, which tells me that there was probably an event in town, or maybe it was April Fools and people were just booking heavily, for that time period. But it gives you a chance to know that maybe you should adjust your rates a little bit. So I wanted to point this out just to say that all the data that we had before, it amalgamates down into this one place in your dashboard, and it's called Market Maker. It's on the left side throughout all the options casting, but this is a great way to keep track of the market as a whole and kind of see things from the way a Vrbo or an Expedia would see things, from like a holistic top level. So use this to your advantage. All of this is available to you, like I said, within your dash. You actually don't have to hit up an account manager for this piece of it. This piece will actually exist in your dash. From Futurestay, let's see, booking. Oh yeah, these are some notes that I think that you guys wanted to mention. So booking data, you guys, if you hook into the Futurestay version of this, it also can show you booking data that can take place from other channels, I believe. And then also you can supply that stuff. It's optional, obviously, and the data is passed through the software integration. So I forgot to mention that at the very beginning, that you don't have to do it through the Vrbo dash all the way. You can actually do it through Futurestay as well. This is a super cool option, and only a few of our partners have it. So yeah, great data, great information. Make sure to utilize this. All right, let's go to the next one. Now, Stephanie, did you want to mention this one?
I can talk a little bit about it. Yeah, this is a brand new program that we just rolled out. I mean, it's probably been about a week. So it's really exciting, especially for some new property managers who it might take a little bit longer because to get those reviews. This is actually a fast start program. So what it does is it pulls information if you are listed on some other OTAs. It will pull their reviews, and as long as you're at a certain percent or a 4.5, I think, or higher, 4.3 or higher, it pulls those reviews over and it shows you these tags of new to Vrbo, 4.8 out of 5 stars on other travel sites. So it's actually helping you get those reviews before you actually receive bookings from Vrbo, because I know that's one of the hardest things of being new on our site is not getting that, not having those reviews. And it does take some time to get to the 20 plus. So that's Mike, do you want to jump in any more or kind of go into it anymore?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great way to get some travelers, to get some funnel behavior and get some exposure and some ranking. This is the easiest way to put it, is that, here rolling out, it's going to be at a property level, which is going to be awesome. So if you have a brand new unit that you want to throw on and you want to try and get it out of the gate quickly and effectively, this is a great way. It's going to give you a chance to be able to get out in front of your first booking really quickly. And really, your first booking is super, super important when you're putting a new listing up, to make sure that it's legit, get it booked, get it done, because this can actually set a precedence on how it's going to book and the confidence that VRBO has to continue to expose that listing to more travelers. So just keep in mind that this is a great program for new inventory coming on, or if you're a brand new property manager and you have nothing yet and you need a chance to be able to kind of springboard some business, this is a great way to do it. It's just, the one thing I would say is just be mindful and be ready to accept those bookings quickly. That's the whole point, right? At the end of the day, is to get you guys off the ground running quickly.
And it does last. It's going to be the first 90 days that listing is live, or the first 3 reviews you get. So if you start getting reviews in from Vrbo, then and you have 3 or more, then it'll actually remove the old traveler reviews and actually add in your Vrbo reviews. So really cool new program. We're still rolling it out, so it's still very new, but it's going to really help with any new listings coming on.
Awesome. And then we're getting here to the end here, just 1 or 2 more slides here. We just wanted to mention that Futurestay is an awesome partner when it comes to the self-service onboarding piece, which means that you guys can get started without even talking to Vrbo out the gate. We have this link, they have this link. It's a great way to just basically fill out some general information that allows our connections team to make sure that you've got all your content in place, and they can go ahead and pull the information, and then it's a quick phone call from there and we get you connected. So if you've been thinking about how you can get connected with Vrbo and Futurestay. This is a great way to do it right here. And like I said, if you need that link, let us know, or Futurestay also has it as well. And just use it if you need to. Let's go to the last slide. And this is going to be kind of our Wikipedia for all things Vrbo. If you have more questions about just general things, there's videos, there's great information on breakdowns on how our per booking fee works, because we're 5% pay per booking. That's our general model here at Vrbo. There's just some great information here, and it's got a search tab. You can literally type your question up there and it will pull the resources pertaining to what you're looking for. So if you've never looked it up before, you can go to Google. It's literally the VRBO Discovery Hub. If you pull that up, it will pull right at the very top of Google and you can click and get in there. Otherwise, the link is vrbo.com, or I guess I should say Vrbo, sorry, .com/PM info. Any one of those will get you there. And if you have any general questions, this is a great place to start and probably help you formulate some questions when you get one of us on the phone or whatnot in the future. Otherwise, great place to start there.
Great. Thanks, Mike. I can pick it up from here just to kind of bring it back full circle. So, just to reiterate, we're available here to help you get connected to Vrbo via Futurestay. Some of the benefits, like we mentioned earlier, it's really quick to activate. Whether you're new to Vrbo or you have an existing business already, but you want to expand onto Vrbo, it's really easy to get connected via Futurestay without disrupting your existing business. So with Futurestay, you can get up and running literally within a business day. So no downtime needed to kind of put your business on pause in order to activate the software connection, which is really great. Our platform automates the rates availability, guest communications, and payments for you on Vrbo. You can seamlessly connect to a direct booking engine to your entire business. And we also have some really awesome new features coming very soon to our platform, including dynamic pricing and revenue management, as well as automated noise control alerts to your guests. So some really cool stuff in the works on the Futurestay platform. So excited to meet any of you guys that are on the call today, whether you're new to Futurestay, maybe signed up previously and kind of rediscovering us. We'll reach out to you after this call with a special offer, and you'll be put in touch directly with me to help you get things set up if you're interested in doing that, and an incentive to kind of test out and try our platform for free for a couple months. So there's no harm in doing that, and free is always good, right? So give it a try. Now is a great time to kind of relook and reassess what you're doing with your rental business, and we'd love to be a part of that with you guys. Great.
Awesome. And yeah, just to reiterate again, guys, get a demo. Do it. Do yourself a favor. See how the shoe fits. It's one of the most important things that you can do in this industry for sure. And they're a great partner. So once again, I just want to say that for the recording as well, that make sure you get out there, get out there and try this stuff. It's awesome. There's just the amount of technology that's out there now is just so awesome. And it's just great to work with partners like Futurestay. Last slide that we're going to do. And then if there's some Q&A, let's nail it. Looks like we may have one. How do we integrate with Futurestay with VRBO? Okay, so here's that link I was talking about a minute ago. So self-service, this is the link. If you want to jot it down, awesome. Otherwise, we can shoot it to you via email later. Otherwise, you can email our team directly. Myself and Stephanie work on that team and we'll be happy to facilitate. It is PM, so that's property manager, sales inquiry at expediagroup.com. So PM sales inquiry at expediagroup.com. And I want to apologize again. We did run a little bit over time. I think we just had so much juicy information here. So it was, it's been really a pleasure to work with John and Monique here. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Q&A real quick. I believe that this is the last slide, I think. Yes, awesome. Good guess. So let's see what we've got in here real quick. All right, so I think this one's for Futurestay. I would love to be in touch for hooking up with Futurestay. Stephanie has our information, Simon from Realtors in Barbados, and Simon's email is there. So
yes, we have already been in touch with Simon towards the end of last week. So we'll be sure to reach back out directly to you, Simon. We already have someone on our activation team assigned to your account and ready to get you going.
Fantastic. Super great choice, Simon. Well, okay, well, we'll hang out for about another minute or so. If there's any other questions, let us know. Otherwise, we'll wrap this thing up.
We did such a good job explaining. There's no questions.
I know, left them silent. It's the way we like it. Doing such a great job.
Mhm. And just as a reminder, this will all be recorded. So I think Jonathan and Monique actually have a landing page that they'll be sending out. But yeah, you can definitely rewatch and hear all the information all over again.
Cool. Simon's got one more follow-up, and it is, does Futurestay work via RDP for connecting with VRBO?
Resort data processing, we do not. Simon will definitely have a conversation. I know Monique will be reaching back out to you as well too. Let's understand that a little more fully, because data processing, really exactly what that need is, whether or not, you know, there's something that we can work with that, or if our platform may actually potentially supplement that, yeah, or provide some sort of service in that way. So let's just figure out exactly how we can do a lot of custom linking and connections of things.
Awesome.
Is there any cost to connect? How long does an exit activation project take to complete with Vrbo and Futurestay? I'll take this one really quick, and then I'll pass it over to Stephanie or Mike. So on our end, Lee, thanks for the question. As far as an activation on our end, getting started with Futurestay, we very easily and instantly can pull in all of your property content rate rules into the Futurestay system, which essentially becomes kind of your source of truth, right? Your central source of truth, which then gets passed along, and all those rules that you set get passed along through over to Vrbo. On our end, it's very, very quick within a single web session, and which then gets passed over to you and Mike mentioned their single sign, or their kind of quick link that they've been developed over there, where you'll just literally link your Vrbo account or create one, which then gives basically permission for you to link Futurestay and Vrbo. Their team takes it from there, usually within, guys, I think a business day or two. Vrbo takes care of their end in activating the connections. The cost on our end, so Futurestay is a markup model. So we're performance-based. There's no licensing fees or connection fees. You can work a markup into your gross listing rate, however you choose, Lee, based upon your business model. However, if you end up passing along, we're a 5% markup for an end-to-end complete system, right? You're getting connectivity, property management system features, pricing, data insights, a complete automated payment solution without needing a merchant account and those types of things. So we can work with those, and we're very flexible on that end. Or if you choose, we are testing out and talking to folks who prefer a flat monthly fee model as well too. So we're happy to talk to you about that.
Awesome. Yeah, usually our connections are somewhere, like John said, Jonathan, they're between 2 and 3 days. So sometimes they can be a lot faster. That self-service onboarding link, you can literally get a same-day connection done if you've already loaded everything into the Futurestay model and you're ready to go and content's ready to go. So we'll say between 1 to 3 days. And we'll give it another 30 seconds or so to see if we have any more. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up here. Once again, thank you to everyone. Thank you to Jonathan and Monique at Futurestay. Thank you, Stephanie and team. It's been an awesome experience. Any closing comments? All right, well, we'll end it here. Everyone have a pleasant afternoon, and we're looking forward to seeing you next time.